Okay, here we are. Final part of the activity plan, the role of the adult. Sometimes you'll start with the role of the adult. What are you hoping to accomplish inside of this activity? Are you going to just be the facilitator, or are you going to take an active part of the actual activity? And sometimes it might transition. I've had activities that I've set up and I've planned, and as I've gone through it, I've checked the development of the children and gone, you know what, they really don't need me for this. I can just set this up, give a brief introduction, and then step back and watch the magic happen, and then be there for the transition time. So the role of the teacher, which we've explored in this Moodle already about different ways that you engage inside of an intentional teaching moment, that role can sometimes also shift after you've written the activity plan, which has happened to me a number of times where I've gone, you know what, I don't need to be this involved. Or I've written it out and gone, oh, I think I need to fill in this gap. I'm not entirely certain that it's going to go the way that I think it's going to go. And it might actually change on the fly. So you'll find in your reflective practice that you are reflecting back, oh, the role of the adult, I actually needed to be more involved in this part of the activity. I needed to offer more explanation. So you can be a guide, you can be a participant. Again, we've already gone through all those things. So let's take a look at the reasons why we want to define the roles of the adults in an activity plan. Okay, so let's get to the why. It supports the organization of the activity. Defining what the roles are really helps you keep clear in your mind how this is going to flow. It also clarifies the roles when other adults are involved. They're going to know what the expectation of you and the expectation of them. And so you don't end up stepping on each other's toes. It is like a team. If everybody's playing goalie, then we don't have anybody scoring any goals. So we really want to keep those things in mind when planning activities with adults. It also supports the understanding of the children's development. So when you're writing out an activity plan, you might find, oh, you know what? They're so beyond this. I really don't need to be involved in this at all. I need to set up the provocation, do the introduction, and be the timekeeper. And then I can step out of it because I'm pretty certain they can handle this themselves. So that is also very helpful in understanding what exactly is your position in this within the realm of child development. We want to be sure that we're not always just the leader. We can be the participant as well. A quick review of the types of roles for adults in an activity. You can have an adult-led activity where you are stepping in and you are absolutely leading this step by step. That's usually an initial presentation of an activity. When you're introducing an activity for the first time, it's an adult-led, and then little by little, you might find yourself stepping back as you repeat this activity. Adult initiated is when the adult sets it up and the adult begins, or it could be the teacher in role. And that can also be reversed. When it's child initiated, it can also be teacher in role. And that really kind of depends on where that goes. That's a very flexible line that you are in when it is adult initiated and child initiated. And child led, that is completely independent. Adults are not free from responsibility for the activity. It's oftentimes what Reggio will call a provocation. When you have a loose parts table and everything is set up, the adult sets all of those things up and keeps them organized for the child, but the child comes up to the table and creates what it is that they're going to create within their imagination. There might be something posted on the wall as an idea, as a provocation for using the loose parts table, but it is not controlled by the adult in any way, shape, or form. The teacher in role. This one is really fun, and many people don't realize that teacher in role begins at very early ages during symbolic play. When a child hands you a banana and they've got a banana and they're talking on it and they go, hello, and you answer them back, hello, how are you? What are you doing today? What did you have for lunch? And you have this pretend conversation with the child who's talking on the phone, or you encourage them to have that pretend conversation. Then that can also be, that is adult initiated because you're initiating that activity, but it can also be teacher in role because you can be the person that the child is talking to. So that is also an intentional teaching moment. You can set those up as activities if you want to encourage a child to have vocabulary and use expressive language. You can engage them and offer them a pretend telephone or a banana and say, hello, it's for you, and then get them to have conversation and engage with you. And that can absolutely be an intentional teaching moment with an activity plan. So I found a video that is actually a overarching big huge theme activity that a teacher of 4 5s put together, and you'll hear her say in there that she thought she was going to have a different role inside of this intentional teaching activity of bakery, and she found that she needed to have a more instructive role inside of this activity. So she was teacher in role and she was overseeing the activity, but it was in a very nuanced way that she was actually a part of the activity and not separate from. So we'll take a look at that and then we'll wrap up with some final thoughts. Okay, so what did you think? And what are your reflections on what your role is? Are you finding that you are being very much a teacher initiated? You sit down, you do these things, it's at a set time, and then off you go, and it's not revisited? Or do you find that you're flowing in and out? Are you following the children and creating your activity plans? That's a really important task to be able to do as an early years practitioner, is follow the children's interests and their development. What I like to say is follow the child, follow the child. Put on a parachute because you're going off a cliff. Follow that child. So no matter where they're going, be prepared to keep them safe and to set boundaries with them. And those are intentional teaching moments. We should be engaging as much as we possibly can in a very intentional way with children. And having set activity plans helps us define those times of when we are going to lead and when we are going to follow, and how we support children's development in a systematic and intentional way. Now that we've gotten through all of this, it's time for a little bit of reflection.